Students head back to class tomorrow, and the district is prepping to roll out an entirely new bus plan from routes to school start times, and frustrations are mounting.
People have said within JCPS that it is the year with the most changes all at once in decades.
1975.
Parents understandably have a lot of questions, and Jim Stratman joins us now live with how the school district is addressing some of those concerns. Jim.
Well, Grace and Eric, there are a lot of concerns from parents. In fact, we know that there have been about 4,800 requests submitted to JCPS Central Office asking for an alteration or change to a bus pickup spot. And that is just one small aspect of all the things that are going to be changing at the start of this school year. But those buses are going to be a real issue for parents, and something they've been worried about for quite a while at this point. The district is encouraging parents to get in touch with them if you do have a concern. So it is not lost on district officials just how big of a concern this actually is for many, many parents as we quickly approach that first day of school. Now, JCPS administration employees say that they have had calls coming in left, right, and center pretty much since the new bus routes got rolled out and announced to parents of JCPS students. The district used a school transportation software called Alpha Route to optimize the new routes. Now, that's the same company actually that suggested many of the new start times for JCPS schools. What this program produced as far as bus stops, bus routes, times, all of it has caused issues, anxieties, concerns for parents and students. And we've been hearing a lot of the same types of stories, parent after parent.
It was maybe 350 feet from the house where we're at. Now it's up here at Valley Station Road and Valley Farms Boulevard, which is 0.33 miles is what the distance on the Bus Finder app shows.
Now, JCPS says that its call center will stay open for these kinds of concerns up until next Tuesday, so a week from Tuesday. Now, we do also know that with school set to start tomorrow, there are still a lot of unknowns out there for students, for parents, even for administrators. They don't quite know how all this is going to shake out as well, and so they've asked for patience. We know that we will be out there going full coverage in JCPS tomorrow for the first day of school, so if you have concerns, we'll be able to follow up on those and get you the information that you do need to know. Grace, Eric.
Jim, thank you. And again, like Jim mentioned, JCPS students head back to class tomorrow, along with students from several other districts, including Bullitt County, Meade County, and Oldham County. And today, Elizabethtown Independent Schools kicks off the year. More on that coming up at 6:45. You can find a full list of school start dates on WHAS11.com.
So the Environmental Protection Agency is going to visit Louisville to assess that chemical-laden house in Highview. In a public meeting last night, city officials said the EPA will weigh in before the city moves forward with a controlled burn of the house. And now we're learning there may be another way to take it down. WHAS 11's John Charlton has those details.
That we are not going to move forward with any plan until I am satisfied that it can be done in the absolute safest possible way.
With packed pews at Highview Baptist Church, Louisville Mayor Craig Greenberg and his panel of department heads assured residents that conditions have to be right to burn down 6213 Applegate Lane.
We want a nice clear day, low humidity, obviously light winds.
The plan is for the fire to be so intense, so hot that the housed hazardous and explosive chemicals would be incinerated and the house would collapse on itself. Last week, the mayor said it was the only option because all the junk hoarded in the house made it too dangerous, too difficult to maneuver inside and remove the chemicals. However, at this community hearing on the planned controlled burn, we heard for the first time if
and when potentially this burn does take place.
That's because the city is in touch with the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. And Monday, WHAS 11 found out the city had its first direct conversation with the EPA to discuss alternatives to setting the house on fire.
An alternative is, a contractor coming in and actually methodically taking things out one by one in the house if a contractor will do that.
Doing that will take longer, and before that, we're told getting the EPA on site to assess is going to take some time. But that right time could also take some time.
We don't have a target date, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever that is.
John Charlton, WHAS 11, on your side.
Residents and businesses near Applegate Lane were invited to attend the meeting in person. Many came with questions and concerns about their safety.
She's in her 80s. If something happens to the house, if there's some damage to the house, who's going to cover to take care of that? That's my main purpose.
How that's going to affect the fire, where it's going to do, what's going to do to the air. You know, we're just kind of concerned about that.
City officials say air monitoring will be a top priority before, during, and after a controlled burn, if that's the route they decide to go in. Right now, there is no exact timing on when the burn could happen, but officials say it wouldn't be anytime soon. When a date is set, residents will be given 48-hour notice, and if they need shelter and food, resources will be provided. Mark Hibble, the man accused of possessing those chemicals and creating that dangerous environment, faced a Louisville judge Monday. He's been indicted on charges of burglary and wanton endangerment. Hibble remains in Metro Corrections on a $50,000 bond.
And a man convicted of killing 3 men at a Fern Creek restaurant in 2020 will serve a life sentence. Michael Rhines pleaded guilty to 3 counts of murder earlier this year. Yesterday, Judge Mitch Perry sentenced him to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 25 years. Police say Rhines walked up to the patio of Bungalow Joe's and shot 3 customers. 48-year-old William Smallwood, 28-year-old Torian Hudson, and 24-year-old Stephen Head were killed. All right, check this out. This is some of the damage that many of you in southern Indiana have shared with us, and we were able to see this with our Sky 11 drone. It just really gives you an idea of how bad it was in certain places. This particularly was in Paoli.
Yeah, Reed was out there with us yesterday, and today survey crews will be back out to assess the damage that you see there. The National Weather Service says it found damage from an EF1 tornado in Du Bois and Orange counties, but it's not clear if it was one long tornado or multiple tornadoes. Much of the impact in Paoli was focused on the town square. That was some of the video you were just seeing. The damage was to the courthouse and several other buildings there. At one store, the roof was ripped off with more damage to some windows and walls. Another downtown business owner says he learned what was happening in the middle of the night.
My buddy called me and told me that something happened on the square, so we got up and drove here at 3 this morning, and everything in our store, I mean, it was just a waterfall inside.
National Weather Service team will head to Washington County today for more assessments.
And a lot of people lost power when those storms rolled through. Right now in southern Indiana, there are hundreds of you that are still in the dark. Now, the most are in French Lick in that area. Salem, Charleston, and New Albany are also seeing some power outages.